Good afternoon. How are you today? Well, it's closer to 70 today, so it's getting chilly out. There's no wind to speak of, and the sky's kind of overcast. So I don't know if we can expect rain or not. That's what kept me off the trail yesterday. So that's so much for the Thomas Jefferson weather report. Now, what else is going on? Well, Hunter Biden has been convicted. I believe it's 3 counts. And based on the charges that were brought, I suppose that's appropriate. But I have several thoughts about this case, and we don't discuss these things at any level, apparently not even in court. Across America, addiction is defined as a disease by most medical associations and the American Society of Addiction Medicine. So, was Biden ill? And if he was ill, can being ill be a crime? An addiction talks in terms of being not possessed, because that has so many connotations, but besieged by, owned, a victim of, who only with great difficulty can stop being addicted. Now, I see this applied wrongly in cases involving pain, in which people who are dependent and need pain medication to operate, including, when precisely and correctly used, fentanyl. Not black market fentanyl, but that actually prescribed, because it is a medicine. So we have an America that's crazy to believe everything is an addiction and wants people treated as addicts. Now, this is a bizarre situation when we have a government that doesn't see that addiction is not the same thing as a crime. Yet the charges against Hunter Biden, the technical offense is that when he went and bought a gun and was asked the question, was he an addict, he said no. And based on what I hear outside the courtroom, because I wasn't there, you have a situation in which the question was, so was he addicted when he bought the gun? And one juror said it was a waste of taxpayers' money because the emails put to rest the question of whether he was addicted or not at the very time, which was Abbe Lowell's argument, his defense counsel, at the very time that he is buying a gun. Now, I haven't seen the documents, I don't know, but it took the jury 3 hours, so I don't think that given the instructions and what we treat as a crime was treated as a crime. Now, these cases, perhaps for obvious reasons, are usually not prosecuted in this fashion because of the fact that it's an addiction. Now, if you commit a different felony, hold up a store or something, and got the gun that you used in the holdup, well, then there would be an enhancement. There would be a different kind of crime. And how does an addict get better when they're dealing with controlled substances, a crime to possess, much less to distribute, etc.? How are they supposed to get healthy without going to jail? Because that's what this lesson is about. Now, I suppose we could recognize in the sentencing the conditions that applied here. And I think that's what we should do. There's an old case from the 60s. It was a 6-2 Supreme Court decision, Robinson against California. And defendants were being convicted in California, and they were criminalized because they were addicted. And the Supreme Court said it was cruel and unusual punishment to make a crime out of an illness, which is what being an addict or addicted is all about. Now, I've seen addiction, but I've also seen people recover from it. And the fractional recoveries are hard won, very difficult to obtain. And I don't know, but the thing I saw as a young kid was that they referred to alcoholic addiction as the Irish cancer. So we can't ignore this thing when we're doing Hunter Biden. Now, it takes a little thinking to go against the grain. He's an addict. We should throw stones at him. Is that what we're saying? He had advantages and he did other things, but not in this particular case involving a gun. So we should punish him for it. So I think a judge might be, in my opinion, hard-pressed to impose any custody or very much custody. So now the tax case out in California, which Garland allowed additional authority to the special counsel, basically so he can go after the president's son. One can be too good about these things, given that the prosecutor in the case, it seemed to me, reopened the case and threw out the agreement because he got pressure from Republicans that there should be more than this agreement in the case of Hunter Biden. Sometimes we have people who soar way above the law. Other times we have people who are suffocated by it. Hunter Biden, yes, he committed the crime. He was convicted of it. It was a technical offense. He had good counsel. Sounds like he had a fair jury. But he should be treated for the addiction, not as if he were a common criminal. In the category of courts getting it right, you may recall that in Florida, DeSantis put restrictions on medical care for helping transgender children with medication and prescriptions and so forth. A federal judge has thrown that out as unconstitutional. Isn't that nice? That's the way it should be. Another thing that looms over us, which is disheartening, is we have 4 hostages saved. What a monster bus. We have 4 hostages saved and hundreds others dead. And we're still waiting on the returns to find out how many non-combatants, but women and children were killed, and civilians perhaps. And early descriptions basically say that when the Israeli forces went into one building, things didn't work out so well, so it turned into literally a bloody slaughter. So the UN, upon our support, endorsed a ceasefire resolution, and it was sponsored by the United States, and it was 14-1, and we had been on the wrong side of this before, and the one was Russia, which is interesting. So we have Russia saying "niet," and it's kind of interesting. The way to get to a settlement there, when we have two sides that if we strip them of their public blather, they want the destruction of each other. How do you mediate that? Do you have to impose something? There's got to be probably a lot of pressure within Israel, outside of Israel, among the families of the hostages. And apparently, if Netanyahu doesn't start reforming his ways, the United States is going to open discussions directly with Hamas itself for the hostages. The problem is, what can we give? And I don't think we'll see much talk about that. So those are a couple of thoughts I have today. It's pleasant, and I'm looking forward to the rest of my walk. So for the day, I say goodbye to you from my cathedral of trees, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye.